Oh. Satchidanandarupaya Vishvotpatyadihetave Tapatraya Vinashaya Shri Krishnaya Vayam Numaha. Janmadhyasya yatonvayaditarataschaarteshvabhignaswarat Tene brahmahradaya adikavaye muhyanti yatsurayaha Tejo vari mridam yatha vinimayo yatra trisargo mrisha Dhamna svena sada nirastakuhakam satyam param dhimahi Dharma projita ketavot paramo nirmatsaranam satam Vedyam vastavamatra vastu shivadam tapatrayon mulanam Shrimad Bhagavate Mahamuni Kim va parerishvaraha Sadyo hridyavarudya tetra kritibihi Shushrushubistatkshanat. Hari Om and greetings from Niagara Falls. There are three facets of us that we can give. Give to another, give to the world. They are resources, time, and effort. Typically, when we give resources in our culture. For someone's anniversary, someone's birthday, we'll give $108. What our community has done, we have given 108 hours of reflection on Bhagwan. Our last class, we had completed 108 hours of exploring Srimad Bhagavatam. For many of you, you had never heard of Bhagavatam before, and now you've given so much of yourself to this ancient yet applicable scripture map. In Syamanta Panchaka, beings, family members from all around had gathered. They're eating, they're drinking, they're catching up. Devi Draupadi asks Bhagwan Krishna's Devis, how did you meet? Was it shadi.com? Was it matrimony.com? Which website did you use? And Devi Rukmini, Devi Jambavati, Devi Satyabhama, Devi Kalindi, Devi Mitravinda, Devi Nagnajiti, Devi Bhadra, and Devi Lakshmana. These are the 8 Devis who were already free, and they married Bhagwan Krishna. And another 16,000 whom Bhagwan Krishna freed, and then they married Bhagwan Krishna. They all shared that all of their karma was for Bhagavan Krishna. They lived for him only. When one's karma is sincere, what will come from that? The phala. When I live for God, naturally, God will live for me. This dialogue shows the perpetual preparation Bhagavan Krishna's devis were engaged in. In this dialogue, I shared a lot about not being attached, to be independent, reminding you and giving you one more insight. How to practice this is to live in such a way that you're not seeking, you're not soliciting gain. You do not have this agenda or insistence. Why? Because you feel you are a dasi. If I'm a servant, then all that comes from my service, who does that go to? My master. If one is living in such a way where they're soliciting, what do I get? Then that dasi bhava, that sense of service, is not established. For these devis, this was established. Further on, Bhagavan Krishna is interacting with the rishis. Shri Vasudeva is interacting with the rishis also. And Bhagavan Krishna shares with the rishis, more powerful than tirtha and a murti is a sadhu. Tirtha, that is holy water we drink. Murti, a holy icon we worship. A sadhu is one who is noble, inclusive, etc. What is the logic of this? With tirtha and murti, the purity is facilitated by the power. The power with tirtha and murti depends on you. If you have little faith in the Ganga and you drink it, the whole time you will be thinking, there must be bacteria in here that's going to make me sick. A murti would be the same way. Mom, Dad, why do you offer food to a stone? Go outside and do that. It depends on your power. But with the sadhu, it depends on their power. Their power expresses as purity, and that radiates towards us. Do you all understand this? Are you appreciating this? There is a shift in power, which is why Sri Krishna is sharing how important these rishis are. And Sri Vasudeva senses this also, which is why he asks these rishis, I always felt that Krishna was my putra. He was my beta. But now I'm observing all of you that he is not my son. He is the father. How can I feel this also? How can I know what you know? And their response to Sri Vasudeva, and this is where we ended our class, so I'm drifting into more details. The answer is yajna. How to know Sri Krishna as Bhagavan is through yajna. Generally, what this is practiced as, all that you do, you have a sense of arpana buddhi. Arpana means offering or dedication. All that you do. We do this on Sundays at 11 a.m. Why? Because I keep using the word Krishna. How can it escape from your mind? But Mondays at 11 a.m., stock market, Dow Jones, NASDAQ, TSX, futures, derivatives. That's what's in our minds. So there's no natural arpana then. And these are all details the rishis share. Arpana, or this vision that all is being offered to Bhagavan, leads to Shuddha. Shuddha means purity. And Shuddha leads to moksha. I know finally every one of us wants and needs moksha. Here is your path. What precedes that? Shuddha. What precedes that? Arpana. More specifically, what is to be purified? And this was part of your reflection adventure of the week. I will ask, you can respond in the chat, then I will correct your answer. Every one of us is born with 3 ashanas. Ashanas means fundamental desires. The first is known as putreshana. In English, the desire for pleasure. Now share with me, what do the rishis share with Shri Vasudeva? How does one slow and stop this desire? What is the practice? What does one have to do? Be grateful, surrender, love Bhagavan. These are the blanket answers, correct? Anything I ask, how can I say that's wrong? This is like umbrella insurance. The specific answer that is given is graha. Graha. Be immersed in a family. The reason being, in a family, you will be tested. In this testing, you will lose this desire for pleasure. Graha is the answer. I've explained some logic. Please remember, we so often define graha as being married, having children. Why such a limitation that you have to be married to love Bhagavan? You have to have children to be able to slow and stop this desire. I'm openly sharing that that's not what a graha is. It is to live and work with people. People where the relationship is not based on an exchange. For all of you who are in professions, if you stop getting paid, would you be committed to that profession? Think lots about what graha is. And again, I'm referencing myself because I am married and I do have children, and I'm stating it's not required in this specific context. Number 2, our fundamental desire is vitteshana, the desire for possession. How do you slow and stop this desire? We don't know. We live in America. Capitalism. Serve, give, live minimally, indulge less. Yes, 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 yes. And there is an accurate answer that's given in the chat, which is shared by the rishis, dana. Be a giver, not a depender. One who depends on possessions only fuels that desire. But if you keep giving, you slow and stop that desire. Please remember this when I shift to announcements, okay? I'm back in asking for money phase. And the third. Each of these desires is more subtle. The third is lokeshana, the desire for position. The most subtle, the most justified. Share with me, how do we slow and stop this desire? Serve, be a dasi, contemplation. You are all lovely students. I had many projections of what the answer was, and I reread what the rishis shared again and again and again. Their answer is kala. Kala, which means time. The idea being, if you reflect on position, who is the king of the castle? The king of the castle keeps on changing literally every moment. All of the position that we're fighting for, how long will it last? Kala. That reflection helps one to slow and stop this desire. Our fundamental desires, pleasure, possession, peace. Our fundamental practices, graha, dana, kala. Being even more specific with these practices towards yajna, the rishis teach Sri Vasudeva that everyone is born with 3 rinas, debts. These are towards Deva, Pitra, and Rishi. How do you pay off the debt towards nature's forces? Deva, you can think of Indra and Vayu, etc., generally as nature's forces. How do you pay this debt? We pay our credit card bills online, correct? Online banking. That's how you pay off your debt. A mortgage calculator. How do you pay off the debt to nature's forces, which are always giving to us? Produce more than what you consume, take less from nature, take care of the environment. All yes, the rishis share yajna. In a ritualistic sense, it means make offerings to murtis. In a spiritual sense, it means to live in harmony with nature's forces. Harmony means not being harmful. This is all amazingly practical, yes? Everyone nod? Because if you nod, that means you're going to practice this. See, some of you know me well. When I ask, you just stare. If I say yes, he'll call me out. If I say no, he'll call me out. So do nothing. The second rina is Pitra rina, the debt we owe to our families, our lineage. Tell me, how do you pay off this debt? Become enlightened. Yes, pay it forward. Good. All you're going to share is going to be correct. What the rishis share with Sri Vasudeva is putra. If you take this literally, that means have a child. So if you can't have a child, you're doomed. Give up. It means to care for another generation. That's what putra means. Your generation has been cared for. Now pay it forward, as one of you accurately shared. When I think of the environment, I think of the environment as generational wealth. Who does this wealth belong to? Every generation. How do we behave? Like it only belongs to our generation. Putra. And finally, Rishi Rina, the debt we owe to our rishis. How do you pay off this debt? Complete the tasks, seva, spread knowledge, be happy. Lovely. Their specific answer is adhyayana. Adhyayana means to study, but more so to immerse yourself in the Veda. To immerse yourself in the Veda is how you pay the debt off to our rishis. I'm not sure what's happening with all of these, but that one you are paying off. At least 108 hours of paying it off has happened, has manifested. Shri Vasudeva listens to the rishis share all of this, and then they share with him. O Vasudeva, you have surely worshipped the Lord of all the worlds, the Lord of all the worlds, Shri Hari, with great devotion, for he has been born as your son. You're sharing with Shri Vasudeva, you're already living by yajna, and the phala of this is that he is your son. You have access to him. Now personalize that to you. Do you not have access to Bhagwan? You also are living by this yajna. Now refine how you're living towards these desires, towards these debts. After everyone had caught up with each other, most left, but Shri Vasudeva was feeling so large-hearted and joyous that he invited Shri Nanda and all of the gopis, gopas, etc., to stay there for another day, and another day, and another day, and 3 months passed. In these 3 months, everyone expressed how much they love each other. Shri Vasudeva for Shri Nanda for Shri Vasudeva. It is a very touching dialogue and details. We continue. We are now leaving the festival of Syamanta Panchaka. We're coming back to Dwaraka. The 10th skanda, the 85th adhyaya, the 23rd shloka, 10:85:23. This is Bhagavan Krishna who's speaking to Shri Vasudeva. Now they're at home. Bhagavan Krishna is speaking to his father. Aham yuyam asavarya imecha dwara kaukasaha sarve pyevam yadushreshta vimishya sacharacharam. He shares with his father, I, you, my brother, all who live in Dwaraka, in fact, all, sarva. Vimrishyaha, one should see not just these beings, but sacharacharam, even those beings that we cannot see right now, those who cannot move. Vimrishyaha doesn't mean just see. We should try to feel what's within them. And what's within them? The same presence. So I'm sharing this one more time. Bhagavan Krishna is sharing with his father, every human, every animal, every plant, every stone has the same presence within them, and we should see this, we should feel this. He's furthering what the rishis had taught Shri Vasudeva, that you should feel that I'm not just your son, I am this presence, and that presence is in you also. Now, sharing some of the details. First, some heavier Vedanta, then some Katha. Shri Vasudeva shares with Bhagavan Krishna, I have heard from the rishis about you being the presence, but now I'm seeing you as the presence. You are the arch yogi. I like that word. Arch yogi means you're the original yogi. From you, all other yogis have come. All other yoga has come. And then he shares a lot of heavy Vedanta, which for the sake of time, I'm not going to share in specifics right now. Instead, I'm just going to continue with the katha. Maybe I'll give this to you as your raw. Shri Vasudeva now comes to understand and appreciate who Bhagavan Krishna is. He feels this Advaita, and so he feels Ananda too. He stops speaking to Bhagavan Krishna. He becomes silent, and there's simply tears of joy that are flowing from his eyes. What a relationship between a father and a son and a father. Now, Bhagavan Krishna's mother, Devi Devaki, she sees how joyous her husband is, but she's not feeling that. So she comes to Bhagavan Krishna and shares, "We have heard that you were able to bring back the dead son of your guru, Rishi Sandipani. You know that your elder brothers were murdered by your uncle. Can you bring my children back?" And Bhagavan Krishna smiled. And off he and Sri Balarama went. For us, it's like going to pick up milk or drop off a letter. They're going to bring back dead children. And so they go to Sutala. Now here's a quiz for you. Who is living in Sutala right now? Who is the greatest being in Sutala? It is Mahabali. Mahabali is there, and he is shocked and he's excited that Bhagavan Krishna is there, and he immediately shares, "Yes, I know where these 6 children are." But Mahabali sort of has this question about who are they? So here's where Bhagavan Krishna explains. These 6 were originally the children of Marichi, Rishi Marichi. And once they had insulted Bhagavan Brahma, as in the creator. And Bhagavan Brahma, to correct them, cursed them to become asuras, those with darkness inside. So they became the children of Hiranyakashipu. So they became asuras. They became the children of Hiranyakashipu. But remember, their lineage is still that of Rishi Marichi. So instantly, as soon as they were born from Hiranyakashipu, these fetuses were transported to Devi Devaki. I'm not going to ask if you're with me right now. Just enjoy the katha, okay? These details are not so important. The buildup is not, but I'm leading to that which is important. These 6 children all have names. Many months ago, I gave you the name of the first child. These names are Kirtiman, Udgita, Parishvanga, Patanga, Kshudrabhrit, and Greeni. These were the first 6 children of Devi Devaki who were murdered. What is the name of the 7th child? Let's see if you're following. This is Bhagavan Krishna's family tree. This is so fascinating. Sri Balarama was the 7th child, and he was transported to Devi Rohini's womb. He became her baby. Remember, Devi Rohini is a wife of Sri Vasudeva. So Sri Vasudeva was married to Devi Devaki and Devi Rohini. So now what happened to the fetus, the womb of Devi Devaki? Many inferred that she had a miscarriage. Who is the 8th child? The eighth child is our Bhagavan Krishna. And Bhagavan Krishna was carried to Devi Yashoda. And who facilitated all of this? Devi Yogamaya. Remember, everyone went to sleep. The Yamuna came down. Even Devi Yashoda fell asleep. She didn't know the gender of her baby. And Devi Yogamaya came back into being the child of Devi Devaki. Okay? So how many children did Devi Devaki have? 9. 8 betas, 1 beti. Devi Yogamaya is the 9th child. When she was offered to Kamsa, he tried to kill her, but what happened? She flew out of his arms. And she, for us, now has become Bhagavan Krishna's sister, whose name is Subhadra. Good build up. I think a lot of you didn't know this. We're so fascinated with our family trees. This family tree is infinite. Ours is Vasana filled. So Bhagavan Krishna brings back these 6 children who were murdered. And Devi Devaki is so happy. She holds each of them. And remember, they're adults now. They're maybe my size. And she's kissing them on the top of their heads. And they all prostrate to her and their father. And Bhagavan Krishna makes them free. And that's how chapter 85 ends. And I will just introduce chapter 86. Since I've talked so much about Devi Subhadra, what happened to her? Here's what happens. Chapter 86, verse 32. This verse refers to another portion of the chapter, so I'm not going to read it. Let me just continue with the katha. Prince Arjuna was once on a yatra, and he ends up in Dwaraka. And while in Dwaraka, he heard about Devi Subhadra, how amazing she was. He also heard that she was going to be promised to be married to Duryodhana. And hearing how amazing she was, he wanted to marry her. So he disguised himself as a sannyasi. He was walking around with a tridandi. Remember from Meaningful Mornings, he was walking with a tridandi. And for the Varshikan Masan, during the rainy season, he stayed in Dwaraka. While he was there, he got permission from Bhagavan Krishna's parents and Bhagavan Krishna to marry Devi Subhadra. Sri Balarama didn't want this to happen. He wanted her to marry Duryodhana. And so what had happened one day when she was at a mandir, Prince Arjuna came and held her hand and put her on his chariot, and they left. And Sri Balarama was infuriated. But dialogue, Bhagavan Krishna's parents and Bhagavan Krishna spoke to Sri Balarama, and all of this was reconciled. And so Devi Subhadra married Prince Arjuna. What was the name of their son? Abhimanyu. Who did he marry? Devi Uttara. And who is their child? Raja Parikshita. Cool connections, no? Family tree is going that way, family tree is going this way. Now here's one final reflection for everyone. Devi Subhadra is symbolic of Bhagavan's Maya. Bhagwan's Maya. Typically, Bhagwan marries his own Maya, but in this case, Bhagwan's Maya came as his sister, so marriage was not possible. So why Prince Arjuna? Now I fast forward into Bhagavad Gita. Pandavanam Dhananjaya. Bhagavan Krishna says, amongst the Pandavas, I am Prince Arjuna. In other words, Prince Arjuna is an avatara of Bhagavan Krishna. See how the Maya and Avatara got married. The heavier Vedanta I will share from these two chapters and more in our next class. Oh.